Welcome to episode 245 of Friars in the Farm. I'm Donovan, and with me is Roy.
Hey, Donovan, how's it going?
Sad, for a sad time for those of you that don't follow Roy on Twitter. Their beloved dog Copper unexpectedly passed this week. How you doing,
Yeah,
buddy?
yeah, it was early Tuesday. Um, he's my best friend, so I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah,
But we're here to have a good time. I'm glad that I'm here with you right now, so something to get my mind off of it.
though we got a lot to talk about this episode. Um, for the Major League Minute, the SAC ballparks, there will be improvement. We talked about this a little bit before. There will be improvements to the ballpark in Sacramento. We'll see how that goes. MLB is now giving up on using Dow chemical as the manufacturer of a sticky ball, some kind of ball that put a little tack on the Major League Baseball, which is interesting. They're going to do that in house, which is going to even create more. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Controversy.
Right, pretty much. And then the affiliate rundown. I went to Lake Elsinore last week and talked to out for the Ryan Wilson and Braeden Karpathios. We'll put those interviews in a little bit later on. So this episode, we're going to have a little bit smaller affiliate rundown. It'll be a little bit more tighter, but then we'll have the interviews. That'll be really cool.
All right, so first our Major League Minute. Sacramento plans ballpark improvements. We've been curious about this. That now that the Oakland A's are talking about playing in Sacramento, I've been to that ballpark plenty of times, and I've been there with a press pass to see the guts of the place. And I don't see how they can turn it into a major league facility, but we'll see what their plans are. So, quote. They are actually constructing a separate building adjacent to the stadium that will be the home clubhouse, Manfred said. They're renovating the visiting clubhouse. There's going to be new artificial turf installed. They're upgrading the camera capability so they get major league broadcasts out of Sacramento. There's some revenue associated renovations, of course, as always. Some club seating and video boards that are being done in the stadium. So there's a lot of good on there, a lot of going on there to get it up to snuff for the interim period. They've had great receptivity.
Is that a
That
word?
sounds like one of those words that Ben and Woods would drop on Jesse Agler. I think they have seat deposits from like 13,000 people or something. They're doing okay. I'm a little skeptical on that. I mean, the ballpark only holds like 13,000. So you're telling
Right.
me you got that many people walking up, slamming down their money like, I want
Right.
a seat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, if that's the case, revenues, even with a sellout, even if it's 15,000, even if it's 18,000, that's barely an arena. That's nowhere near a major league ballpark capacity attendance, stadium. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how they play with the money, with the revenue, how that's going to work. At a time when I guess the owner kind of needs every single penny that he can get. Um, it's going to be interesting to see, but I'm glad to see that they are going to be putting in the improvements to at least try to make it somewhat major league quality. Maybe they can have some filters on the cameras to make it look like there's more people there or that it's bigger and it's
Yeah,
better.
some Instagram filters there.
filter.
Oh my goodness. I want to know how that home clubhouse is going to work since it's not attached to the dugout. I don't know how that's going to work out because guys are always going down there to get
Right.
they go down there to get work during the game from a physical trainer. They're going down there for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we're talking
Manfred's
stairs, we're talking steps, we're talking distance. If you're in your cleats, you're walking around. Even if they put rubber mats down, like it's going to be could be mildly dangerous. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hear about a guy slipping and falling, having to walk that far. Maybe they do something different in underneath where
right.
they
Are they
have
doing
that.
a tunnel
Right.
down underneath the playing surface out to the and then what they'll have Elon Musk come in and put a hyper tunnel. So a little Tesla takes you from one end to the other, like a ball, like the old bullpen carts. Okay, so
uh,
Manfred said he believed the A's would need to break ground next April in Las Vegas for the team to be able to have a stadium ready for 2028 as targeted. Quote, they still think they're on schedule to be able to play in 28, Manfred said. A's owner John Fisher has been looking to sell some of his stake in the club, but Manfred said it's not a necessity for Fisher to do so to get the stadium in Las Vegas built. Quote, in terms of selling pieces of the club, I don't think that John has a necessity of effectuating any of that in order to meet his timeline, Manfred said. of course, Manfred is going to say all the
Yeah,
right things about the owner because he works for the owners.
yeah, yeah.
I'm skeptical about the whole thing, though. I mean, the money's going to show up to get them into Vegas. It just makes me wonder if there was the right benefactor out there. I still believe they could make Oakland happen if they wanted to.
And that's the case if they wanted to. Much kind of like we had here in San Diego with the stadium here actually across the freeway. The team wanted to leave no matter what. I think they really. I think I read somewhere they had like two people on the keep the Chargers in San Diego team. The Chargers actually had only like two people on that, and they had so many other people. It's a non-starter for them to stay in Oakland. I think even if the city is okay, we're on board. Let's do whatever we need to do. That's a massive undertaking, and we've talked about this with the other guests on the show. On the absolute, it's the largest. It would have been the largest construction project in the history of California. That whole renovating, I can't remember something terminal, the Howard terminal up there in Oakland, and then going into Vegas, it just, it's just not hasn't been good. The mayor has misspoke, or you want to say misspoke, or maybe even told the truth for that. And you would think there would be investors just lining up to pay for something like this, to invest in it, but it doesn't seem like it's happening as quickly or as smoothly as even remotely you would want it to happen.
All of this reminds me so much of how the whole thing with Spanos unfolded.
Yeah,
And the Spanos family, they had the money to make the move, but obviously they didn't have any money for a ballpark.
yeah,
So they were up there playing in that soccer field. And I think when they were playing in that soccer stadium, similar to the A's playing in Sacramento, and they jacked the prices up like crazy.
yeah,
So I bet you that's what they'll do. So those whatever 15,000 seats, there won't be $5 seats in that park. There probably won't be $25 seats in that park. You just to see the spectacle of big league baseball being played in a minor league stadium. I,
yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a circus. I really think so. And they're talking about expansion at the same time, but if you're having this much difficulty relocating one of the teams, eh, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I really think it's because the owner's forcing the issue. There are cities that are just pining for a major league team, Nashville being actually one of them. But Vegas, just what, 4 years ago, maybe, they just opened up Las Vegas Ballpark, a brand new ballpark facility, AAA team. It's going to be interesting to see how that Major League Baseball affects that team and what team is going to be there. Because I think it's the A's right now that's in Las Vegas.
It
Um,
is, yeah, the Las Vegas Aviators.
so they can just drive across the street, down the other side of the strip.
I mean, that works like Minneapolis, St. Paul, you've got the
Yeah,
Twins and you've got their AAA ballpark right there in the same city. But it's fairly rare that you've got your AAA team in the same like metropolitan area
yeah,
as your major league park. I guess it's kind of like two different operating businesses. The way that major league stadium is going to work, it's going to be driven 80+% by visiting fans.
yeah.
And then you're going to have the resorts around there. They'll have their season tickets, their suites, and all that stuff. But that's what they're going to give to their high rollers. And,
Right.
it's going to be part of their sales packages. Where the AAA ballpark, it's local baseball fans,
Yeah.
it's mostly local fans. And then some visiting fans like myself, Angela and I went, we saw the Chihuahuas play there. But that's a small part of the revenue of what that stadium does. But it's your affordable alternative. Same
Right.
time, it's outdoors. So, and it's in the summer, it's 105, 110 degrees. And that's not going to change. Where the Major League Stadium, it's going to be covered, if not a completely enclosed stadium, it's going to be air conditioned. So, it's not going to be that same experience of going and sitting when it's wind blowing out 30 degrees and it's 110 degrees and it's just miserable for everybody there.
God, and that Vegas ballpark, I know it's a little bit higher elevation. It's outside of the city there. But the routinely balls are hit 400 something odd feet. Like it is a bandbox. It's the Pacific Coast League. It's like playing on the moon. I wonder how
It's
that's
not
going to,
it's not really out of the city. It's kind of out in the suburbs. It's in the
yeah, yeah,
suburbs on
yeah.
the west end of town. So maybe you've got that wind coming down off the mountains, but it's right there in town. It's like a 20-minute drive from the strip.
Yeah. Um, so I, and that, moving back to the A's in the ballpark there, like, uh, I think what Major League Baseball wants to do is to settle this issue and then actually settle the Tampa Bay Devil, the Devil Rays or the Rays, get them a new ballpark. Then they can look into expansion. And I think they're trying to get that done right around 25, 26, before they really start looking at cities for an expansion team. And I know that I follow actually the Twitter profile for relocation for the Nashville. I think it's the Nashville Stars. Is that X handle? And for a while there, they had Dave Dombrowski on board, but he went and became the GM for the Phillies.
Right. Well, now that I Googled this, we have breaking news. As of an hour ago, the Rays have released renderings of a proposed new ballpark in St. Petersburg. So last September, the Rays reached an agreement with the city of St. Petersburg and Pinellas County to build a new $1.3 billion ballpark on the Tropicana Field site as part of the long-term redevelopment of the historic gas plant district. This is from Adam Berry on MLB.com. The challenge there is that St. Petersburg, okay, great. One of the problems they have right now is that their stadium is pretty lame. It's not a destination.
Right.
So you put a new stadium, a nice shiny stadium, and all the business development around it. That's great. Problem is, it's a 45-minute drive from downtown Tampa. It's way out of the way for most of the people. I don't know enough about what the layout is because I know Atlanta, they built the new Atlanta stadium out on the outskirts and they're drawing more than they got that place packed.
Yeah.
A higher percentage than anybody. They're filling that place up. Helps having a team that just won a World Series, exciting young team. But the Rays, they haven't been able to draw when they had those exciting teams. Oakland, when they were good back in like the early 2000s, they were putting 50,000 butts in that stadium when the place was rocking. There was a time that they were doing that. And so in Tampa, you've got fan base that isn't as engaged and it's logistically difficult to get there. Oakland, you got a fan base that is just, they want to come, they want to support their team. And over the years, they've been given a variety of middle fingers from ownership to drive them away and give them reasons not to come to the ballpark, not to spend their money. Why would you want to spend money when the ownership is doing everything they can to get out the door and putting a subpar product on the field? So I get it. But anyway, you mentioned Tampa and I looked it up and boom, there's some news.
Yeah.
I think they're working hard to keep baseball in Tampa for whatever reason. I don't think they're going to be pulling that franchise out and moving them anywhere else. Right. But I mean, it would solve problems if you take a ballpark that isn't doing well and a franchise that isn't doing well and relocate them somewhere that is. The next one that comes to mind is Miami. And having been to Miami, I can tell you the people in Miami don't really give a rip about baseball a whole lot. It's a football town and it's a soccer town. And we've seen, Miami, even when they've had their successful runs, they weren't drawing like crazy. Get a new ballpark, they couldn't fill it up. So I think they give them some time since they have the new ballpark, but that seems like the obvious one to me that kind of helps that they have an owner that has been pretty lame throughout their whole tenure.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to some more stickier wickets if you want to go that way.
All right, so next on the list, MLB tacky ball experiments with Dow are over. Rawlings to try its hand. I didn't even know they were doing this with Dow. So MLB is no longer working with Dow to develop a tacky substance that could be applied universally to baseballs, something that in theory might minimize pitchers' need to apply any additional substance. Quote, Dow has kind of cried uncle, Manfred said. They spent a ton of money and work with us. They were great partners and had a lot of good ideas, and we're just not able to come up with a ball that was playable. We're now focusing our efforts on a tacky ball with the Rawlings people. It's our baseball, they're baseball people, as opposed to chemical people, and we're going to try that route. We were not successful on the Dow thing, and the big change is we are focusing our efforts on working with Rawlings. Manfred said that change was made over the winter. Now, who owns Rawlings? The Rawlings is a part of Seidler Equity Holdings. I believe essentially the Seidler family and their investment partners own Rawlings, correct?
It's owned by Major League Baseball, I believe.
Right. They took them over a couple years ago. They brought them into their envelope, part of the One Baseball. Baseball initiative.
Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Well, I just Googled it, rawlings.com. management is the MLB Cellular Casenda. Yeah, that's MLB, comma Cellular Casenda Management Company. So it's owned by Major League Baseball and the Cellular Company. My question is, doesn't the NPB have a sticky ball? Don't they have a ball that does what Major League Baseball's trying to do is get some kind of tackiness on the baseball?
Yeah, yeah, it's Mizuno. Mizuno makes that ball. Um, and it's a pre-tacked ball. They don't have to rub it up with dirt with mud from the east bank of the Delaware River and
Right.
this specific little secret spot of a tributary of the Delaware River, whatever that is, of some mud pit that they've been pulling buckets of mud for 100 years. Yeah, it's a pre-tacked ball, comes out of the box, good to go. Pitchers don't have any issues having to use additional substances. Where here they were using the spider tack, now they're using rosin and sunscreen, and
Yeah.
still getting guys are getting flagged for that. That was so rich when Scherzer it's just good. It's just sweat. It's sweat and rosin. Well, if it's too sticky, it's too sticky, I guess. But the solution is to find a ball that has the right grip and the right tack. And
Right.
they figured it out so why don't you just send people over to talk to Mizuno and
Right.
figure out how they do it? Or send some spies in. I don't know. They've got to figure it out over there. How come we can't figure it out over here?
Proprietary information, industry secrets. That's corporate espionage. That's what we need. We need a nice
Yeah.
baseball corporate espionage guy.
In the interest of better baseball, I'm all for it.
And I think Mizuno could make a nice little pretty penny on letting them have that information, that technology.
Yeah, I want to find out who is the manufacturer of the ball that they use in KBO because I believe they have a pre-tacked ball as well that has worked pretty well. So that's been a question when a player comes over from Japan. Like we've got every year you got Imanaga coming over. So how are they going to adapt to the new ball? So they've been used to using a ball that has a certain shape to the seams, a certain texture to the leather, a certain amount of tack. Yeah, and so how's it gonna come off their hand? Or is the splitter gonna work the same? Are they gonna get the same grip on their curveball? Is the fastball gonna have the same kind of ride? Yeah, and it seems like pitchers take off pretty well once they get past the cultural differences
Yeah.
and kind of get comfortable here. But that's something that I've wondered, like, yes, what's that adjustment like just with the ball?
Yeah, and that's pretty much for everyone that's come over has done really well. So it'll be interesting to see what Major League Baseball, how long that takes, because we know what was happening in the Trash Pandas, the Rocket City Trash Pandas AA team for the A's or for the Angels. They didn't know where the ball was going, and some of those guys were throwing pretty hard, so it was getting kind of dangerous. And the other guys were slinging it, and it was like a wiffle ball.
Right. Right. So why can't they get that all figured out? It looks
Yeah.
like there's a company called Skyline that makes the ball in Korea. But my understanding is that it is also a pre-tacked ball.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's keep moving on. This is cool. So the Fort Wayne Tin Caps will now host Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby X in August 10th at Parkview Field. X, right? So the MLB Home Run Derby X is an exciting 3-on-3 co-ed competition built around power hitting and defensive hustle, with events in each city featuring 4 teams, each led by an MLB legend and female player from softball and women's baseball. Video highlights of last year's inaugural U.S. event in Hartford may be found at the link that's not provided. I'm reading right off the teleprompter. HRDX is what they call it, is a home run derby with defense. A singles game takes about 30 minutes. Each player gets one at bat of 2 minutes, 30 seconds. During an at bat, the opposing team is in the outfield to make catches. Teams can earn offensive points for home runs and defensive points for catches. At the end of the game, the team with the most points wins.
So it's like over the line, kinda.
Okay. You better have more than 3 guys in the outfield. Or at least that's going to be interesting. So bonus points are earned by hitting home runs to a center field target. During each at bat, batters can call for a hot streak of 5 swings where everything counts double. In the final minute of an at bat, batters can tag in a teammate to finish with a flourish. You want to thank the Savannah Bananas for anything like this happening. This is Major League Baseball, and I guarantee as this kind of continues it will evolve. They will get better ideas, and they will come up with a product that kind of works. We'll see how this goes. Right now, it's being played in minor league teams. At Parkview Field is fantastic. That's such an amazing ballpark, and Mike Nutter and his team there do a great job. But thank you, Savannah Bananas, for kind of forcing Major League Baseball's hand to make kind of baseball fun again.
I want to know what this target in the outfield looks like. If it's like a big flaming hoop on fire, or if they're doing it in Durham, they put the bull out there, and if you hit the bull, then it where the tail goes. But yeah, make baseball fun. And so play around with the rules. You do goofy stuff like this. And you're getting some names. So they got Jake Arrieta and Nick Swisher coming to Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
You got Adrian Gonzalez, Giovanni Soto, Johnny Gomes. You got a bunch of notable former players. So that's going to bring people to the ballpark. And I know that the folks in Fort Wayne have drawn up a lot of interest in this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it'll sell out there for sure. Some of the females, Jocelyn Alou and Alex Hugo of women's baseball, will be on the roster. The 4 roster players participating. Yeah.
They've got a few more names. They need to fill out the roster still. They haven't announced the full rosters. But yeah, it's going to be like, music and fireworks and, more action, more fun.
They better get some young guys in the outfield, because I don't see like Adrian Gonzalez or Nick Swisher running around making diving catches. Maybe Adam Jones can get out there. Maybe we get Adam Jones involved in this.
Well, it's going to be, it's home run derby, right? So it's not like they're going to be out there. I mean, there's going to be line drives because they don't hit it square, but there's also going to be the high pop-ups that they'll have some time to get under.
Interesting. More to come.
More to come. All right, so let's move right into the affiliate rundown here. We got a couple interviews stacked into this, so we're going to keep things moving so we can get you guys to the interviews. So starting off with the ACL, painting the corners. Ruben Salinas earned his first win as a pro, firing 2 innings. He allowed 1 hit and struck out 2. Salinas underwent Tommy John surgery shortly after converting to pitching last spring. Salinas is not allowed to run in 5 innings this year.
Ooh, in the ACL, that's not too bad. On the screws, Spence Kaufman continues to swing a hot bat in the desert. The versatile Kaufman had a single, double, and drew a walk. The 20-year-old was drafted by the Padres in 2022 in the 19th round out of high school in Mississippi. In 17 games this year, Kaufman is hitting .296, .377, and .370.
So to highlight, so we always talk about don't scout the stat line in the ACL, and Mad Friars has done a pretty good job of covering things kind of live action as the games are going on. Somebody hops onto the Mad Friars account and starts tweeting out what's happening, and it's pretty funny sometimes. The other day there were a couple of runs scored, and I don't think there was a single hit in the inning. Right. There was an error, there was a hit by a pitch, a couple of walks, catcher's interference. There's all kinds of other stuff happening. So on top of defense is just guys figuring out their fundamentals and learning the mechanics of playing professional baseball. The field conditions aren't as consistent as you find elsewhere. You only have 2 umpires. The umpires are the lowest level, if you will. Right. So you get some questionable calls. You've got whoever's taking the scorebook. It's up to them to decide if it's a hit or an error. And it's not like the press box at Petco where you've got a handful of people all sitting around and immediately breaking everything down, the minutia about do they deserve a hit, or it's just willy-nilly, that's a hit. Okay, score it, mark it down. And nobody pays any attention to that. So yeah, really don't scout the stat line. It's fun seeing all that stuff go down.
All right. Hey, well, let's quick put in the Ryan Wilson interview that I had up there in Lake Elsinore. Great kid. Fun. He's from Durham. He'll talk about the bowl, going to Durham games as a child. So that's here right now. I'm here with Ryan Wilson, outfielder for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Good to see you. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Dude, how's it been here in California for you?
It's honestly been super nice. I love the area. I think we're definitely one of the luckier teams in the Cal League in terms of the stadium. Stadium's beautiful, and then also the area.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, one of the things about moving up is your next stop is in Fort Wayne, where it's just getting out of 50 degrees out there.
Yeah, the weather here is much, much better than it is in Indiana.
Although it is going to get really, really hot, and you're going to God damn, why can't I just, God.
I'm fine with it being a little hot, though. I would much rather play baseball when it's hot than when it's cold.
Absolutely. Hey, so growing up in Durham, who got you into baseball?
Definitely my dad and my brother. We would always go out and play wiffle ball, and obviously I just wanted to hang out with them. So whenever my dad and brother were out playing in the yard, definitely wanted to be with them.
Is he older or younger brother?
I have an older brother. He's 24 right now. He played baseball at UNCW and Liberty.
Okay. All right. And that's it?
That's it.
Graduated and
Yeah,
went on
graduated.
got a real job?
Yeah, living in Virginia now.
Oh, that's great. So I talked to your dad. This just befuddles me. He told me about a story about you were in T-ball where it was a grounder through the infield in T-ball. You ran from first to third, but you had a pop-up slide at third?
I don't even remember that, but my grandparents and parents love telling the story. I don't know why, but I always hear about it somehow.
So you're a legend already in T-ball.
Yeah,
You're destined for pro ball.
No, not quite. Definitely had to work hard to get here, but it's been fun.
All right. So, hey, did you grow up going to Bulls games?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was like my childhood park.
Who are some of those guys you saw?
My first memory at the Durham Bulls, I remember B.J. Upton hit a walk-off home run over the bull in left field. I thought that was sick because then the bull lit up and smoke started coming out of his nose. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But I thought that was pretty sick.
Is that the park where if you hit the bull, they buy a steak?
They win a steak, and then there's a grass underneath the bull, and if you hit that, you win a salad. So definitely not as good as hitting the bull.
So the player gets the steak?
Yes.
Oh, dude, that's epic.
Yeah. I don't know how it works if you're on the away team and hit it, though. So I assume they give you a steak still.
Right, or maybe a hamburger. Like, no, it's just for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, one of the things they used to do here before kind of everything changed was if you hit a home run, they passed around a bucket.
Oh, really?
And you guys would get a couple $100, after a bomb, or if the pitcher struck out the side. This was the Booster Club here in Lake Elsinore.
Uh-huh.
If the pitcher struck out the side, they'd pass around the bucket. People put money in the buckets.
That's pretty sweet.
But now you guys make at least you're being able to go out to Chipotle.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot better from what I've heard.
All right, so what was the big league team? Kind of Durham there, you're kind of in the middle of everything. What was the big league team that you grew up following?
I always liked the Braves just because they were always on TBS, and my dad grew up watching the Braves, so it was always on, and then I just kind of followed in those footsteps.
All right, who's your boy? Who's your guy for the Braves?
It was Chipper Jones, so I always wore number 10 when I was growing up, but I got to high school and college, and that kind of faded out. Now I just wear whatever, but definitely growing up.
Just happy to have a number.
Yeah, number 10 was my number because of Chipper Jones.
Oh, nice. So what attracted you to Davidson?
That was my only offer out of high school, but I honestly thought it gave me a good opportunity to play young into my career, and, I mean, that's how you develop. Like, you got to get on the field.
Right.
So I liked the people there. The people there are amazing, and I thought it was a good opportunity for me.
What was your major there?
Economics.
Ah.
Yeah. So definitely not the easiest, but I thought it would be a good major to have.
Yeah, absolutely. If baseball doesn't work out, you can go work with Grandpa and him and.
Is he an econ guy?
He's an econ guy, yeah.
I know Jay Jay Bashirs is also an econ guy. So you got a little trio right there.
Yeah, you follow the market a little bit or no?
Definitely.
Yeah?
It's harder now, but definitely pulling up the stocks page every once in a while, probably once a day.
You got a couple or do you have a little counter?
So I'm in the just like the S&P 500 and then the Invesco QQQ Trust. So those are the only two things. I don't want to deal with it too much, like try to day trade or anything like that right now. So I just want to get
index
it and then build it up, kind of ride it out.
Dude, you're young. Index funds will get you through there.
Yes,
they'll get you through there.
Definitely.
Okay, so you played a lot of first base your first year and second year, but then you went to the outfield.
Yeah.
What happened there?
So my freshman year, the outfield was pretty crowded, and they were honestly probably better outfielders than I was. So they had a hole at first. They were like, "Can you play first?" I was like, "I've never played it, but I'll definitely try." So I worked at first base pretty much all fall and most of the spring, and I played there my first and second year. And then my junior year, we had two outfielders, Parker Nolan and Trevor Candelaria, grad transferred to NC State, and that freed up the outfield. So I just moved back to the outfield.
Look, you can play first base. It's really easy.
Yeah, sure. That's what they all said. But it's very, very valuable to have a good first baseman, especially you see it here with Romeo.
Oh yeah.
So.
All right, so You made huge strides at the plate your second year, 366 average, 502 on base, slug 575. What changed that second year? You kind of just took off.
Yeah, I definitely struggled my freshman year. I think getting that experience, like I was talking earlier, helped a ton just because you can't develop a lot in sitting on the bench. So getting that experience, and then also I think shifting my approach, trying to do a little bit more damage rather than being more reactive.
Okay.
And I think I honestly need to do that here, make a little bit more of an adjustment with my approach and be more aggressive, try to pull the ball a little bit more.
Is that what they want you to do, pull the ball a little more?
Yes, a little bit. They just want me to be on time and hit the ball hard. That's all I'm trying to do.
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. Everyone could do
That's
that,
all you
right?
gotta do,
Be
yeah.
on time.
Yeah.
If everyone could be on time and hit the ball hard, everyone
be
would
a
do.
major leaguer.
All right, so you're starting to tear it up there. We're scouts starting to show us. We're scouts starting to show up. Are you starting to get some recognition there?
Yeah, a little bit, and it helped me a ton. That I think Nolan DeVos, my sophomore year, got drafted by the Astros, so people were always coming out to see him. And then I was just playing on his team, so I think I got a little bit of exposure there. And then Michael Carrico, my sophomore year, had an unreal year. So people started coming out to watch him his junior year, and I was on the team again. So I got lucky with that and just played well enough, and they noticed.
Dude, coattails will get you, a little talent will get you drafted, yeah?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. But you ended up going to the Cape.
Yeah, so after my junior year, I got a temp in the Cape, went up to the Cape for 3 or 4 weeks, and I played all right, but I ended up getting hit in the wrist. And, yeah, so I went home after that and just kind of chilled the rest of the summer until the draft in July.
And healed up.
Yeah.
So a couple months back, last season, I got family in Connecticut, and we got there early, and my wife's like, hey, let's go do something. I'm like, hey, Cape Cod League's going on right now. She's like, okay. We're both big baseball fans.
Yeah.
So we drove like 3 hours to get to the Hyannis and watch the Hyannis game.
Oh, really?
Dude, and that was always a bucket list for me. And to do that so early, I'm like, we have to go back now.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Get my wife to say, yeah, it was way too easy.
So y'all went to Hyannis?
Yeah, we stayed right downtown, right in the heart of Hyannis.
That's really nice. I was in Harwich. That's a nice area.
Yeah.
So anytime you can go on the Cape during the summer, that's a good time.
Dude, it was wild because you go there and there was a ton of people there.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'll sit behind the plate. No, that's all scouts.
Yeah.
All radar guns behind the plate.
Yeah.
All right, so your senior year, dude, you hit 17 bombs. And you were Atlantic Player of the Year. Is that when you felt you can really kind of play at a higher level?
Yeah, so that was my junior year, and I feel like I got a new hitting coach. We got a new hitting coach at Davidson, Todd Miller, and I feel like he helped me a ton. Because growing up, it was always like hands to the ball, and he was the first person that kind of introduced like the turn behind the ball and let the barrel get a bunch of bat speed and catch up. And then I think he helped me take that jump from sophomore year to junior year.
Nice. Where were you on draft day?
I was in an apartment in Charlotte, actually. My girlfriend had an internship in Charlotte, and I was hanging out with her because I just got done with the Cape.
Yeah.
And I actually had an internship in Charlotte during that time, but when I got drafted, I was like, all right, I'll see you later.
Not even a 2-week notice? Come on, man.
No, I was like, I'll see you later. And they were understanding. They were like, of course.
Oh,
like,
hell yeah. Was it for econ?
It was for Northwestern Mutual. It was actually the day I got drafted was the first day of the internship. So I went the first day, and then after that, I did not go back.
Did you even let them know you're a ball player? Like, hey, I might.
I told them beforehand. I was like, there's a chance that this happens. They're like, oh, of course. Like, I don't know how much they believed me or if they
who's
like,
this kid?
Yeah, sure, whatever this guy says. But they were like, all right, whatever. But then I let them know that night, and they're like, oh, well, congratulations. Probably not going to come in tomorrow. And they're like, that's fine. So, see you never, I guess.
That's a great story. Did you know it was the Padres? Were there other teams looking at you?
There were a few, but I definitely think the Padres were the most interested through the entire process.
Did you find you got drafted by the phone call, or did your account, your
agent
call you?
texted me. It was like, I think you're in the Padres in the 9th right here, and I was like, all right, sweet. I was waiting for it, and then it finally popped up, and I was like, let's go. And then the area scout, Jake Koenig, called me a little bit later that night just to be like, congrats, like, let's go, I'm pumped.
All right, dude. So then after that, how many days after that did you get into Peoria?
I can't even. I think it was like 4 or 5. It was pretty quick turnaround, which was nice because obviously you want to get out there and start. But it was definitely a quick turnaround.
You get there and you're like, God, it's just like Africa hot.
Yeah, I remember walking out of the airport, and I had never been like West Coast at all, so I had no idea what the heat was going to be like. Everyone was talking about it. And I remember walking out of the airport, and it's like 115 in Phoenix that day. And I was like, dang, this feels like, you know when you open the oven and just like check to see if you're, whatever you're cooking
I'm in the kitchen,
there?
yeah.
Yeah, and it just like hits you in the face. It was exactly like that. That's honestly how I would describe it.
Oh, that's so funny. A little bit different than the humid heat you get.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's stifling though,
100%.
but still.
Yeah, it's different, but.
All right, so your teammate at Davidson got drafted, Michael
Carrico? Yeah.
Did you get to see him in spring training this last year, spring?
I did. So we got dinner together one night. He's been hurt, but I think he's a lot better now. He's in Myrtle Beach with the low A team with the Cubs.
Okay.
So I think he's doing well.
Yeah, it's really freaking humid in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'd rather have the dry heat here, absolutely, than that sweltering.
Yeah. I'm used to the humidity, though. So when getting out here the first few days, I was like, oh, my God.
But it's a dry heat, right? You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Going into this last offseason, so did you change your routine? Did you try to build up? What would you do?
So we implemented a lot of the things that we did when we got into Peoria. The only major change that I made in my swing, I lowered my leg kick, and now I just got a little step, just because I feel like the velo here is a lot different than in college, especially in the Atlantic 10. So consistently seeing higher velos here, I wanted to make sure that it was easier for me to be on time.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest change that I made.
Yeah, dude, everyone throws 96. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We're not at Davidson anymore.
Definitely not.
But you walk more than you strike out, and it's funny. Even all through college, and even out. I just checked.
Yeah.
You've got one more walk, I believe, than strikeout.
Let's go. I hate striking out, honestly, but with people throwing harder, it's becoming more part of the game. And I think specifically my strength is making good swing decisions and swinging at strikes, taking balls. So taking walks has got to be part of my game plan and part of my strength. So I gotta keep doing that.
Dude, the Padres, they're on base.
Yeah.
They love on base.
Anything to get on base. As long as I don't get out, I don't really care.
You know, they just traded for a rise in, like, he gets on base. He hits singles. I don't care about bombs. I don't want bombs. We got our guys for the bombs.
Yeah.
You got a guy who gets on base. He's very, very valuable.
Definitely.
So who are your roommates now?
So I'm with Will Varmette now. I was with Jay Bashirs for the first month of the season, and he was tearing it up here. So he got sent up to Fort Wayne, and I was sad to see him go because I liked him, but I love Will. He's a great guy.
Do you guys cook? Who does the cooking?
Honestly, we don't have a ton of time to cook, but during the off days, I feel like sometimes I would cook. I would cook more than Jay, but I haven't been with an off day and cooked with Will yet because we just literally moved into an apartment together.
Nice, dude. Nice. What do you cook? Give me a couple dishes.
Just pasta, mainly pasta. Well, you cook breakfast every single day, but then you get here and you have 2 meals, so you don't have to cook a lot, which is nice.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
When I first started doing this, coming here, and they'd put the same food in the press box that no longer exists that you guys got down there. I was like, God damn.
Really? Not good?
Not good. And very questionable temperature. I'm in food service, so I'm like, it's been sitting in the danger zone a little bit longer. All right. I seriously appreciate you coming out and doing this. I got some fun questions for you. Are you ready?
Of course.
All right, quick hits. I'm not going to give you a cookie and ask who the most famous Davidson alumni is,
Steph.
which I accidentally, thought it was Karpathios' college. But can you name the president that went to Davidson?
Yes. I think it was Woodrow Wilson.
Dude!
Yeah.
You know.
There we go.
How do you know that?
I don't know. So before I left, I would go back and train at Davidson this off season. We had a little hypothetical question: who do you think is more famous? Who just known more worldwide?
Right.
Woodrow Wilson or Steph Curry? And who do you think?
Well, it's got to be a president of the United States.
That's what I said, and nobody agreed with me. But
I mean, they didn't have the internet back there. I'm like, people in China know who Steve Curry is. I don't know if people in Vietnam know.
Yeah.
Would have known who Woodrow Wilson was.
That's true. But that was just a fun little question that we had, like a little hypothetical.
All right. What do you do to escape from baseball?
Literally anything. I like to. Honestly, spike ball is fun. I like to play cards or any type of board game. Video games are always a good choice. Just hang out with friends or family.
Dude, occasionally I'll run across ESPN and they'll have professional spike ball.
I didn't know about that, but we got into it a little bit as a team in college. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun. Especially if you get on the beach, relaxing, play a few games.
So what beach do you go to in North Carolina? Do you go to Wilmington or where do you go?
No, the Outer Banks. So my grandparents have a house in the Outer Banks, and we just grew up going there. It's super nice. It's a little bit different than Wilmington Beach or Carolina Beach. I feel like that is more touristy.
Yeah.
And Outer Banks a little harder to get to, but it's more scenic, I think.
Right.
So,
looks nicer.
a little bit, in my opinion.
You got chumps like me going out there going, what's to eat around here? Get out of here, Cali kid. All right, do you have any superstitions?
Honestly, no, not really. Try to just relax, have some fun.
All right. Celebrity crush?
I don't know. When I was younger, I feel like it was Scarlett Johansson, but now I don't really have one.
Your girlfriend's not going to listen to this podcast, dude. She's
Definitely not. Definitely not.
All right, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Ever eaten? I don't know. So I went to China when I was younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think we really tried any crazy food. We had frog legs, but I mean that's not crazy. I guess that. I feel like I get a very normal diet, especially now because all we get is chicken and rice and beef, which is good, but it's same thing pretty much every day.
No oxtail, no.
No. It's weird.
All right, so one person that you would want to meet, living or dead.
That's tough because there's so many options. For baseball, obviously I would love to meet Chipper Jones. I think that would be really, really cool. Just because growing up, I was like, he's amazing. And I think I've heard great things about him. Seems like he has fun.
Yeah.
Especially I think he lives in Georgia now. I heard a story about him coming to save Freddie Freeman when it snowed in Atlanta one time on a four-wheeler. So I think it would be fun just to talk to him about that.
I went to his last game at Petco Park. The last time that they came through San Diego, we sat next to him. Yeah, one of those players I love baseball players, man. Obviously the Padres are my team, but I love good baseball players.
Yeah.
And Larry, I mean, you can't get too much better than a third baseman than Larry.
Yeah.
Although he hates being called Larry. All right, so you're stranded on an island with food, water, and shelter. Mm-hmm. What are the three things that you need?
Other than food, water, and shelter?
Yeah.
Am I trying to escape? Or
You could do that.
give me a boat. I'm coming back to the mainland.
All right, you got to tell Kobe this because Kobe Robinson, we had him on. That's the first thing he said. Right, he's like, "A boat?
Yeah, give me a boat. I'm getting out of there. I don't want to be stuck there."
All right, other than a boat, what else would you want? If you couldn't get off the island.
Couldn't get off while I'm stuck. Give me like a machete because I want to cut some trees down, make a little house or hut.
Yep.
So that's one. Give me like a nice pack of water.
All right, some good water, yeah.
And then, I don't know. Give me my brother.
Nice. All right.
He's pretty good outdoors, and he'll take care of me.
Pong. What the?
Yeah.
Dude, I needed you, man. Like, what's wrong with you? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's going to be funny. Okay, favorite baseball movie?
Honestly, I don't watch a ton, but probably Sandlot is classic. I feel like I have to say Bull Durham because I'm from Durham, but probably I would say Benchwarmers is my favorite.
Benchwarmers. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably my favorite.
Look at comedy. You know, something fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, if you're gonna have a pet that's not a dog or a cat. Last question: If it's a pet it's not a dog or a cat, what would it be?
Can I control it completely?
It's your pet.
Yeah. I think it would be sick to own either a bald eagle or a lion. Obviously, a lion just looks sick. Like you have a lion on a leash, you walk around with it. Nobody is gonna mess with you.
Right.
But also, bald eagle would just be cool to like call it up whenever. Hold your arm out,
Right.
come land on you. Yeah, that would be cool.
Go give me a rat. Go give me a. That's classic.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, man, Ryan, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Thank you very much, man.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Boom. That was fun. It was fun to go up there. So what happened, folks, is I wanted to videotape the interviews, and this coming Saturday, I'll be going up there and videotaping interviews. But during the week, I was trying to force something with the equipment that I had that wasn't actually it was made for, and therefore I could not get the video. I had to use I had to use my phone. I had to use the microphones. I have since fixed that technical issue. So the interviews for next week are going to be Romeo Sanabria and Sam Whiting, pitcher up there, and Romeo is just killing it. That'll be videotaped, and so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was real fun. Good kid. On base machine is what really Ryan Wilson is.
Yeah, I just pulled up his numbers here. His average of 209 and his slug of 246 aren't all that, aren't going to jump off the page, but he's getting on base at a 376 clip.
Yeah.
So he's got equal 28 walks to 28 strikeouts. So the guy's got good plate discipline. He's been hit by a pitch 9 times this season already. Looks like that was a thing for him all the way through college. But he's been a bit of a clutch. He's come through in the clutch for them.
Yeah.
So the batting average isn't that high, but I see those highlights coming through from the Storm Twitter account of him getting the game-winning hit late in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, you don't scout the stat line, but the Padres and any organization loves guys that get on base.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on to Fort Wayne, painting the corners. Last Tuesday, Enmanuel Pinales shined to preserve the lead. The righty pitched 7 shutout innings, allowed only 1 hit, 0 walks, struck out a career-high 9. Have yourself a day, Enmanuel Pinales.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and then yesterday, Jagger Haynes allowed only 1 run over 5 1/3 innings. The left-hander kept the home team off the scoreboard through 5 frames. Cole Puplum pitched a scoreless 7th inning for the Tin Caps. Puplum, who anchored Fort Wayne's bullpen late last season, is on AA San Antonio's roster, but now rehabbing after an injury. He just got sent up the other day. He grew up in the nearby Appleton area. Yeah. So that's got to be a little bonus for coming up to the Midwest League, being able to get your family and friends and all that to pack a section of the ballpark.
In the neighborhood. And literally throughout the last couple of weeks, he's been in the ACL dailies for Mad Friars. I just hadn't put it in there. A friend of the podcast, hard throwing right-handed hit with a devastating slider. So it's good to see him back. It's good to see him rehabbing. Usually, you rehab in the desert, then you get sent out to your affiliate. I think they probably needed the help there. We'll see how long he stays there. But certainly to see him back pitching in meaningful games is huge. All right, moving on to on the screws. Homer Bush continues to hit. Yesterday, he had 3 hits and 2 stolen bases. He's now hitting .321 after a real slow start. He is now leading the league with 26 stolen bases. I swear, last week he had 13. I could have sworn. I saw
the man runs like a gazelle.
Dude, I'm telling you. I could have swore literally a week ago he had no more than 15 and was like still second in the league. I saw that tweet today and I was like, holy cow, 26. And I checked MiLB. I'm like, yeah, 26 stolen bases. Holy moly.
Well, and it's not just the speed. It's the awareness, the understanding of the situations, but also the aggressiveness. He's just such an aggressive base runner. So he's always taking the extra base when he can. I wanted to look it up. He's only been caught 4 times with 26 stolen bases. So that's a pretty good percentage. That's over 80% success rate, which is what they want to see.
Absolutely. And he's getting on base to do it too. So he's starting to heat up. It's starting to get warmer in Fort Wayne where everyone's starting to hit a little bit better.
Yeah, he's a 276 batting average with a 320, 371 on base. You'd like to see a little bit of power, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that may come as the season warms up.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, San Antonio on Tuesday. Ryan Bergert had his best start of the season. I love all these had his best start of the
Yeah.
season kind of messages that we're starting to hear here. So 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 3 strikeouts. So Bergert is not a strikeout machine. He
No.
will never be a strikeout machine. He's a pitch to contact kind of a guy. And so the 3 strikeouts, 6 innings, that's whatever, but efficiency. So
Yeah.
learning how to trust your defense behind you, learning how to mix up your sequencing to miss the sweet spot, and get all that weak contact. I think he's going to start going even deeper into games.
Yeah, absolutely. So Friday, righty Victor Lizarrga, who's pitching right here, right now, tossed 5 scoreless innings. He walked 3 batters and struck out 4, and then helped to minimize the impact. Righty Carter Lowen looked dominant during his 2 innings of work, striking out 5 of the 6 batters he's faced in 2 perfect innings. And then right-handed Francis Pena has been transferred from San Antonio from Fort Wayne. So Francis Pena was in what, like Elsinore at the beginning of the season, or at the end of last year? Sorry, started this year in Fort Wayne. Is already in Double-A. Hard throwing guy too, as well.
He had a little trip through the Arizona Fall League in the middle there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week, we had some growing pains with Robbie Snelling. He's had 2 back-to-back really bad starts. I think this last start he had 6 give up 6 runs in 6 innings. Just learning it, going through it, and you know, you want to see, you don't want to see it with pitchers, but you definitely want to have some adversity here. And I think that's what's happening right now. Is he's starting to feel comfortable with where he's at, and that could lead lack in focus. That can just leave him the ball up. It could be mechanical issues where his balls are getting too much of the plate or catching too much of the plate. But you always want to see good pitchers have a little bit of adversity, and I think that's what we're seeing right now in Robbie Snelling.
Yeah, hopefully it's just a bump in the road. Right now, the Padres, they seem pretty comfortable with the starting pitching staff that they have between Major League and then the AAA options that they have behind them. They're not calling, they're not, we're not looking over our shoulder to see who's ready to
Right.
come up just yet. Matt Waldron has done even better than anybody expected, so that's been a welcome surprise. And then you got Brito and Vasquez kind of holding down that last spot when they need it. I saw Darvish just went on, or Darvish has not gone on the IL, but he had a shortened start, and they said he had some hamstring trouble. They had imaging, so anytime I hear something like that, that suggests to me that they might give a guy a couple weeks to, to heal up. But I just hope that we're going to talk about Adam Mazur in the next segment here. I just hope that by the time those guys are needed, that they've kind of figured everything out and they're cruising again. They get through this adversity, make the adjustment that they need to make.
Absolutely.
So finishing it up in San Antonio on the screws on Friday, Braedon Valenzuela hit a solo shot. The home run was Valenzuela's second of the season and his second of the series. And then Ray Patrick Ditter had 2 hits on the day to nudge his OPS up to 707. He's one of just 2 missions above 700 on the year. That's a little rough.
It is a little rough. That's why on the screws in San Antonio is not that deep. There's a lot more pitching involved in the affiliate rundown there. Marcus Castagnone has been struggling of late as well. But that's it happens.
It does. Yeah. And as long as, like I said, as long as they aren't looking for help and looking that deep, then you can give those guys some time to make these adjustments to get through it.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help that they traded away Martorella and Pauly, 2 of the guys that, or Martorella and Marcy, 2 of the guys that they were expecting to be, studs, possibly fighting for starts out of spring training.
Which I saw your tweet on X and noticed that, well, at least right after the trade, Martorella was hitting, but seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside, both those guys.
Right. Yeah, both of them. And Dylan Head, he only played in 3 games after then and went on the IL. So because Wusuk Go, what inspired that tweet, I saw that the Marlins have designated Wusuk Go for assignment. So they ate Usogo's $2 million contract, and they ate, or is it $4 million? And they ate the remainder of this year's contract for Luis Arraez, except for the major league minimum. So they ate a lot of money to get those three players, and I believe that they're going to wind up being good prospects for him.
Right.
I have At this time, I have a hard time seeing any of those three being like future impact major league
players.
starting long-term kind of players. You never know. But that's an awful slow start for all those guys.
Absolutely. And that was the original and the long-term kind of evaluation of Marcy and Martorell, two guys that we love very much and hope the best for. That they were probably going to end up role players. Maybe Marcy is a fourth outfielder. And if Martorell can continue to develop that power, maybe a platoon first baseman.
Right. And those are both fairly limited roles.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take it to El Paso. So painting the corners. Saturday, Adam Mazur is getting a baptism by PCL fire. He cruised through 4 innings, and then in consecutive innings gave up a single and then a home run. So his final line was 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 8 strikeouts, no walks. So let's break that stat line down a little bit. So 8 strikeouts, no walks, that's really good. 8 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched, that's a pretty good strikeout rate.
Yeah.
4 runs in 6 innings pitched, you'd like to see a little bit better, but it is the PCL, but it's on only 5 hits. So a single and a home run, single and a home run, and then another hit that didn't do you any damage. 4 runs on 6 innings. You'd like to see better, but it's not a bad day in the PCL, all things considered.
That is not, considering it's his 3rd start. And he's still getting, he gets much better for a former major league hitters. I was okay with it. I saw the form like, ooh, and then I looked and I watched the run and looked at the box score and seeing as single home run. I mean, home runs come by the dozen in the PCL. So have him give up a couple of 2-run shots is just a, hey, this is what you got to do. Hey, don't do that again. Oh, you did it again. Oh, well, you'll learn. And it's still development. And I think that's why it's the baptism by fire, having someone such a high prospect. And we kind of scratched our head. Why would they move him up to AAA and put him in that cauldron of home runs and hits? And it seems like every time the ball hits the bat, it's going in the gap. Can you hear that? You guys can't hear that, right? I got a cat screaming at me. So, let him keep getting his starts there. Let him keep learning and developing. And I haven't had the chance this week to really watch a lot of the games. There's a lot of been going on here at the house, and I'm dying to catch his next start and just stop what I'm doing and watch his start and see how it goes.
Well, I did a little bit of it's a little small sample size overreaction, but I'm looking at his numbers on Fangraphs, AA compared to AAA. So AA, his home run to fly ball rate was 3%. 3% of the balls that got up in the air left the park when he was in AA. Now in AAA, that's 21%. So that tells me 2 things. It tells me, one, it's hard to hit a home run in the Texas League, and we know that pitching at Wolf, where you've got the wind coming in from right field most of the time, which for a lefty that's ideal. And then, I mean, AAA ball, it also tells me that's a regression kind of a stat. You're not going to stay at that kind of a number. That's going to come back down. So a few guys have tagged him, and they've gotten lucky. His ground ball rate of 45% is good. The last couple of years, he's been between 36 and 39%. So a 45% ground ball rate, that's great. You want to get the ball on the ground, let your defense do some work for you. So it looks like it's maybe a little bit of bad luck with the fly ball so far, but that's really about it. So you look at the 5.8 ERA that he's got so far in AAA, and it's only 3 games. So really small sample size. And the walks, he's not walking anybody. He's got 1 walk per 9 innings. His strikeout rate has come down a little bit, but he's still at 7.9. He's 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Pretty solid. So I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing and don't get frustrated when that fly ball goes 10 miles deep because you're playing in Albuquerque or you're playing in Reno.
Absolutely. And that's why we don't scout the stat line particularly with with the PCL, and the guys are going to hit velo. The guys in AA aren't going to hit 97 as often as the guys in AAA. And then once that ball makes contact with the bat, it's almost a guaranteed hit. So learning that pitch mix, learning how to attack hitters at an elevated level of play is going to be where he develops, and it's going to happen. And he's going to be a major league pitcher probably for a very long time. But he has to get through the PC. He has to get through the gauntlet first.
Right. This last start was in Sacramento. No, I'm sorry. It was at home. They had the River Cats at home. So launching pad in El Paso. And then his last two starts were the bookend starts of the Las Vegas series. So they were in Las Vegas where it's hot and the wind blows out anyway. He gave up one home run in each of the two Las Vegas games, and then the two home runs in the River Cats game.
Yeah. And that's all right. So we want to go on the screws?
Take it away.
So Saturday, Graham Pauly hit 2 homers. And then Tuesday, Matthew Braeden had 3 hits, including a pair of doubles. It was Batten's 10th multi-hit game of May. The 28-year-old is now hitting .372, .413, and .543. Tirso Ornelas singled and walked.
So that's just in the month of May. That's what his numbers are in the month of May.
Right. And so that goes to show you guys that can hit are going to have those high, crazy numbers. And that's what, 10% over, over 10 or 15% over league minimum. The league average is like 320. We're going to go into it right here. Tirso Ornelas singled and walked in the Chihuahuas loss. The single extended his hit streak to 5 games. Ornelas has now hit safely in 12 of the last 13 games. Much like Braeden, Ornelas has been red hot in May, hitting .343, .395, .529 with 3 homers this month, pushing his WRC plus to 111. That's 11% above league average production. So that crazy number is still just league average. So when you see someone like Adam Mazur, give him a couple of 2-run shots, book in between 8 Ks in 6 innings, like that's pretty damn good. It makes those numbers look even better.
Right. Well, that line on Ornelas it's a really good May. It also highlights his very slow start to the season. So on the season, he's just now cracked 300 in batting average, even though he's hit 349 for the last month. So 301, 367, 490 is his line on the season. So 11% above 11% above average for an 857 OPS. It's such a crazy offensive league. Yeah. And on the season, Matthew Braeden, where's he on the list here? He's batting 300 with a 371 on base and a 418 slug. So you look at the two guys standing next to each other and you expect Braeden to be more of the scrappy on base singles, occasional doubles kind of hitter. And you expect Ornelas to be, line drive, laser beams, possibly slugger kind of a guy. I think Ornelas, whatever mechanical adjustments, whatever approach adjustments they had to make through that first month or so of the season finally clicked. And I hope that what we've seen for the last month out of both of those guys really is who they continue to be through the rest of the year.
Yeah. But to get to the major leagues, they're going to have to hit home runs. Like they're going to have to hit more balls in the air and get it out of the stadium, particularly Tirso with, there's so much potential there with that body. To have him hit for power, it just has not come around. He's still really young. He's still only 23 years old, maybe 24. But you see someone like A. Rosario, who, hits a lot of doubles, hits the ball in the air a lot. He's had his cup of coffee up with the major league team, and runs into a few more homers than both those guys.
Yeah, with Ornelas, the last couple of years, his home run per fly ball rate has gone up. So he's getting the ball out a little bit more when he's getting it up in the air. I don't see a whole lot of change in his line drive or his ground ball rate. But again, the access we don't have to the data is like game to game, month to month. Yeah. We can only see the whole season at a chunk. I need to figure out how to get access to that other stuff because I know some people have it.
If you go to MiLB, you can get the game logs, but you can't get any of the StatCast stuff. I'm
looking for batted ball kind of information. That's where I'd like to pay a little more attention to.
But now, Baseball Savant and StatCast doesn't have that.
Not for minor leaguers.
Didn't they a
Yeah.
couple years ago? Didn't they have that a couple years ago? I remember
No,
watching.
there was another website that had that information, and I need to see if they still have that. It was minor league something. I'll do some research before we get together next time.
All right. So then let's bring it on to our Braeden Karpathios interview. Great kid, just 20 years old. We tried to in A-ball. We tried to talk to him in the offseason. It just didn't work out. He was really grateful and really gracious to come on and talk to me. And here's the interview right now. Well, I'm here with Braeden Karpathios, Lake Elsinore Storm. Dude, you grew up a Phillies fan, a little town outside of Philly. You grew up a Phillies fan?
Yep. A little bit, Phillies and Orioles a little bit. My dad's best friend, John Parrish, he pitched with the Orioles for a while, so I kind of grew up watching him play with those guys. But yeah, I also love the Phillies too.
How did that work, like growing up in that area with, like in Baltimore, but yet,
right?
You're in the middle of the Phillies town, like it's tough.
Phillies fans are crazy. I don't know. It was kind of fun though, like in two teams at one time. But funny story, my dad, when the Padres were playing the Phillies in the World Series, or not, NLCS, yeah. I was in the DR, and I got him tickets, and I was like, dude, don't wear Padres stuff there. Like you're gonna get heckled and stuff like that. And you up going in like Padres hat, Padres jersey, and all that stuff. And he sent me a video. This guy was cursing him out. It was awesome. It was funny.
No, do it for my son.
It was hilarious.
You in the DR?
Yeah.
What were you doing down in the DR?
I went
winter ball.
No, I had instructs there.
Okay.
So I finished the season my first year, and then instructs in Arizona, and then they sent me to the DR for 3 weeks.
Who were you with the DR? What affiliate or what?
It was with the Padres. It was on. It was at like the just like the camp that they had over there.
At the campus.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, how was that?
It was a fun experience. It was tough. It was different. I got there. Like the first day I ate, I must have ate something bad or something. Like, I don't know what it was. Yeah, I didn't feel good for like the rest of the night.
There's a bacteria in your stomach.
Yeah.
Not ready
I don't know. But dude, it was a fun experience. It was a fun experience.
So growing up, did you go to Jayhawks games?
No. What did you say? Jayhawks?
Jayhawks, yeah.
No. I did not. I went to Lancaster Barnstormers games.
That's it. Okay, yeah. Lancaster. Now they're the Jayhawks.
Okay. They are?
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know that. But yeah, it's Barnstormers.
I also might have got them mixed up with the Cali.
No, you're good. Yeah.
So you were a pitcher, not too bad.
Yeah.
But then you had Tommy John.
Yeah. So I liked pitching better than hitting for a little bit. Everyone always told me I was a better pitcher than hitter. I think just because I threw from the left side. And then I went and tried out for the USA team. I ended up making like the last trial for it. So I made that, and then that's like kind of when COVID hit and stuff like that. Right. So we weren't too sure if we were gonna go or not. But I went out through in like a men's league just to get like ready for it, an area back home in Mechanicsburg. And then I threw like 10 pitches there, and on like the 10th pitch I threw a curveball and I just felt my elbow pop. And then and then I had to get TJ.
Dude, playing rec ball?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I played 20 years of rec ball, man. Yeah. I remember we were in a tournament, and I was playing center field, and this guy threw it.
Yeah.
Ball went that way, his arm went this way. You heard his bone snap from center field.
Scary.
It just
it's probably the worst way I could have done it, to be honest. But
oh my god,
it is what it is.
Did you have a commitment to Coastal Carolina?
Yeah, I did. So my freshman year of high school, that winter, I committed to Coastal Carolina, and then after that, just didn't get it done in the classroom. I wasn't a big school guy, and then it just didn't work out. I found out I wasn't even going to be able to get into school.
Oh shit!
And then so I ended up knowing that the JUCO was going to be the route for me after high school.
Nice JUCO, they'll let anyone in. Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. That's why I knew.
And
I had a couple buddies that went to the college I went to, Hartford. So it was easy to get in there.
So were there other teams interested in you?
Yeah, there was up before the draft. I had a couple scouts come in to the place I went and hit at. I had to work out with the Phillies and the Padres, but the main one, obviously, was the Padres. I was in Petco, so that was like the biggest one I went to.
So take us through your signing there. Did they call you? Were you really kind of stoked to have the Phillies kind of look at you?
I was. Dude, it was funny. So I went. So one of the scouts came to a local field with it was me and then one of my buddies, Micah. He's at New Orleans right now.
Okay.
And the scout came, and I was stoked going into it because I was like, oh, Phillies, whatever. And then worst BP rounds of my life. Worst BP rounds I've ever taken. I literally don't think I hit a ball out of the infield. Like, I got nervous and I popped every ball up, and I was like, damn. So that didn't go too well, but I had a really good relationship with my scout, Danny Sater. So I was excited for the Padres.
Yeah. And then the agent calls and it's over.
Yeah.
So, in JUCO there, were there any thoughts of maybe kind of getting your grades up, or maybe going to do a full year? Maybe
No, for sure.
A little bit more?
For sure. So after my year at Hartford, I was like, I had a good year. We ended up going to the World Series. We got a lot of attention there. So I knew we were going to be on the radar going into next year, like for scouts and stuff like that. But this was my dream, dude, and I had an opportunity, and it seemed right, and I just took it. Yeah.
Pro ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then you made it to Peoria into 7 games. I think you tore it up there.
Yeah.
Did you stay in Arizona that year?
Yes.
Did you bounce out?
No, I stayed in Arizona that year and then had instructs there and then DR instructs after that.
Who were your roommates there?
I had a lot. Thomas Balboni, Jacob Marcy, and then I have one, Kai Murphy. Yeah.
I was watching the game when those guys got traded.
Dude, it was crazy.
I was
Crazy.
on Twitter.
Dylan was in the locker room getting dressed, and I don't think he was playing that night, but he came out in his hoodie and he was like, "Damn, I just got traded." I was like, "What?" It was crazy. Everyone was freaking out.
Oh man! So you made it out to Peoria, getting 7 games. So going into your first full off season, kind of what did you want to focus on, or did you change anything?
I didn't necessarily want to change anything, but I knew I needed to get stronger. I knew I needed to get faster. I think my swing's always been there, but there was just different little stuff like pitch selection, all that stuff that I needed to think about now. Because you get to college, at least where junior college, there's not a lot of good pitching until we got to the World Series really, so I didn't have to think about it. You know what I mean? And then went back to the off season, did a lot of hard machine, just a bunch of swing decision stuff. Just tried to get as much prepared for the season as I really could have.
What about the mental side of the game?
Yeah, I think I didn't really experience it up until last year. Last year was an up and down year for me, to say the least. Just one, performance-wise, I know I didn't play to the best of my ability, and then 2, I was up and down here 3-4 times. So just learning how to deal with it. It's a long season. And just realizing I'm going to have 0 for 4 games. I'm going to have 0 for 4 weeks. I'm going to have weeks where I get 2 hits. I'm going to have weeks where I get 8 hits. You know what I mean? So it was just realizing that, and I think last year really opened my eyes up to it. And I think I've done a better job with that coming into this year.
Staying level.
Yeah.
It's funny. The baseball is the only sport where, when you don't perform, you try harder, and trying harder doesn't work.
Yeah, no doubt.
So what's your approach at the plate? Are you grip it and rip it, or are you depending on the situation?
It kind of depends. If I'm feeling good and I know I can get away with one swing, I'll take a big hack. But lately it's just been realizing what the situation is. You know what I mean? If the situation calls for me to hit a fly ball and get a run in, I'm going to do that. Or if they need me to drive in a couple runs and shoot the gap, then I'll do that too.
Nice. Did you set any goals for yourself this year?
I think one big thing I wanted to focus on was just, like you said, just keeping a level head. That was my main goal, and then to me it was if I do that, I think all the other good things that come along with the success we have on the field will come. Yeah. Don't
get too high on the highs, don't get too low on the lows.
Right.
Staying. So who are your roommates now? Who are you rooming with?
I have Wyatt Hoffman.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He's the best. He's the best. He's an awesome roommate. He's the best.
I nearly jumped through the TV when he hit the ball in his finger. I was like, yeah!
Dude, he was going off, man. It was awesome. It's good to see him.
And that's what he's such a great teammate.
Right.
What have you, and he's been around for a little bit as well.
Right.
What have you taken from his experience, or has he kind of let you?
So last year was my first year that I met him, and then I was fortunate enough. So we had 4 roommates last year because all that stuff changed this year. But it was fun, man, and we were kind of going through a little bit of the same thing last year, not playing a lot. He's just always happy to be here, and it's a privilege to be here, and it's supposed to be a fun time, not like, oh my gosh, we're at the baseball field. You know what I mean? We're playing baseball for a job. So one thing I took away from him last year was just like seeing how happy he was and how fun he was having even when he wasn't playing or not even playing well. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Seeing the big picture from 20,000 feet instead of 10 feet.
Right.
All right, let's have some fun. I'll get you out of here. Dude, I really appreciate the time.
No doubt.
And we would have, we just couldn't make it happen during the offseason. That's all good.
No, I know.
Okay. So can you name the only other player to go pro from Lampeter, Strasburg that's not Curry, Stephen Curry?
Yes, I do. Jeff Bianchi?
Yep.
All right, sweet.
Okay, what do you do to escape from baseball?
Play video games mostly. Play video games, watch TV. I tried Call of Duty or MLB The Show. I told myself I was going to get out to the beach more because I'm in California. Obviously, it makes sense, but I haven't done that yet, so I need to get on that.
Dude, you got Mondays.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know. I know.
Do you play with other guys on?
Yeah, me, Hoffy, Isaiah Lowe, Kobe. It's kind of hard with like the guys in Fort Wayne, like Kai and all those guys.
Right.
But when
Fabian plays as well.
When we have time, which I'll try and get on with Kai or something like that. So, yeah.
That's funny. That's kind of how my night starts. Like they start at like 4 o'clock. I get home at 3:30.
Right.
They start at 4. San Antonio starts at like 5:36, and then like it just kind of
all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any superstitions?
Sometimes, like I think there was a week here where I put my bats in like the second bat rack and I had a good week, so I just kept doing that the whole week, and then I did it again last night and it didn't work, so I put it in the first bat rack tonight. So we'll see. We'll see if it does anything. I don't know.
Excellent. Okay, so celebrity crush?
Probably Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox.
Good call. Had a couple guys. God, Jennifer Aniston. I'm like, dude,
really?
Is she old for you?
Yeah, she's a little old now.
Okay, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Strangest thing?
Now you've been to the DR.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know. There was some stew in the DR that I didn't know was in it, and that's what made my stomach hurt. So probably that.
One person you'd like to meet, living or dead?
I'm gonna say Bryce Harper.
Right.
I feel like. I mean, obviously we're not the same player, but I feel like I got the same fire as him, and I just want to like pick his brain on how he keeps it level, but like he'll still keep that fire that he plays with.
Could he have banged in the first inning?
I know. I
yesterday?
saw that. It was stupid.
I think there's some players in the major leagues where umpires are just not going to put up any shit, even if it's perceived. Or
I think
not.
especially him because he's like aggressive, like he's an aggressive player. You know what I mean? He could still not be aggressive, and he's still gonna bang.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Okay, so you're stranded on an island with food, water, and shelter. What are the 3 things that you want?
Food, water, and shelter. Probably I'm gonna say like hot dogs, some easy to cook. Shelter.
You got food, water, and shelter.
So you have all those 3.
Yeah, everything you need to survive.
Okay.
What do you need to hang out with?
What do I need? Okay, what do I need to hang out with? Okay, definitely my PS5.
All right.
I need that, and then I'm gonna say my phone, I guess,
All right.
and then I'm gonna keep like a baseball bat around, just to have it around. Probably.
Kobe's like right off the bat, both to get off the island. Oh shit, dude! You gotta tell him the same thing. You gotta tell him the answer to the question. If you have a pet that's not a dog, if you can have a pet that's not a dog or a cat, what would it be?
Does a tiger count as a cat?
A tiger could be could be a pet.
All right, I'm gonna say a tiger. I think having a tiger would be sick.
All right,
yeah, that'd be sweet.
Dude, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Braeden, Karpathios.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely,
Thank you for having me, guys.
Absolutely,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
No doubt.